In today's video, I will show you how to make a simple Japanese breakfast and bento box specialty using just basic kitchen utensils. Hello, welcome to Spilled Beans. My name is Chef Rebecca Regnart, and we're back here again today to teach you something fun, new, exciting. And since my last video was, I'm not gonna lie, really long, very tedious, today I wanted to do something a little bit more simple using just ingredients that you likely already have in your home pantry. So what is this that we are going to be making today with all these fun Asian ingredients? You may be wondering. Well, it's called Tamagoyaki, which is a Japanese rolled omelet. So here we go. So to make Tamagoyaki, what you need are just a few simple ingredients. The first thing we're going to be using, of course, is eggs. And I usually like to use whatever's the freshest eggs that I can find at the store or from my mom's house, which she has chickens. So I usually do like free range eggs. Large size is preferred over the jumbo size. Soy sauce, I really like to use the lower salt sodium soy sauce just because I find that regular soy sauce is extremely salty. You could also use coconut aminos or tamari if you are soy or gluten free. The third thing we're going to be using is sesame oil. I like the Dynasty brand. But whatever kind of dark sesame oil that you can find is great. The fourth thing we're going to be using is mirin, which is a sweet cooking rice wine. We're also going to be using a little bit of sugar, some salt, some pepper, a little bit of butter, or whatever kind of oil that you prefer to use. We're also going to use in this omelet, which is going to be a Dashimaki Tamago, some instant dashi. Dashi is a Japanese cooking stock made with sea kelp and usually dried bonito flakes. And it's a stock which takes a few hours to make, but you could also just buy it in this instant form and dissolve it in a little bit of warm water. And lastly, I'm going to be adding some scallions. A Tramatina nonstick pan here. I believe it's the smaller one, which is about the 6-inch size pan. And traditionally, the Japanese use a rectangular shaped pan when they're making these tamagoyakis. I do not own one of those, unfortunately, but I'm sure you can buy one on Amazon or maybe even some of the Asian markets would sell them. So you want to heat up the pan to about medium heat. Takes probably about 2 minutes to get there, but you want the pan pretty warm, not sizzling hot, but warm enough to where when you put any liquid, it starts to sizzle. I like to use butter in my omelet when I'm making it at home. If I'm preparing it for somebody who doesn't eat butter or dairy, I usually use extra virgin olive oil or canola oil. I'm gonna just add a little bit of butter, swirl it around. Careful when you're doing this. I have oven mitts for hands, but not everyone does. You hear the butter start to sizzling there. Just a good sign. It seems like it's warm enough to start adding our eggs. So the first layer we're going to add just a little bit. And we're going to swirl it around the pan just to coat the bottom. beat down just a smidge. My cute cat spatula here. The first layer doesn't really matter how it looks. You just kind of want to gather it to the other side of the pan, like so. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more butter. That's the first layer. Mix my eggs again. I always mix my eggs before I pour more in, just to make sure the scallions are nice and distributed. I'm gonna swirl it around, and I'm going to lift up the first layer and make sure some of the egg gets underneath there. And then I'm gonna start to flip. Honestly, I am like the worst person with chopsticks, so I usually just use a cat spatula. And then I'm gonna move it again. I'm gonna continue doing this until all the eggs are used up, which can take a little bit of time. Lifting it up to get some underneath, and then flipping and bringing it towards me. So I'm always adding a little bit more oil, butter in this case, each time I pour. And again, I'm always mixing the eggs before I add the next layer in. And you can see I'm just using a tiny amount of that. Don't really want a whole lot. Just a little bit. I've never actually counted how many layers. I guess it just depends on how many eggs that you're using. And also the size of your pan. If you have a larger pan and you're using the same amount of eggs, it's going to be less layers, obviously. This pan's pretty small, so it'll be many layers. It's kind of like making crepes. Like, you have to find the right temperature for your flame. You have to get into a groove. So I sort of turn or start to flip when I see that most of the egg is cooked. So most of the liquid is gone. You can eat these things any time of the day. Most of the time in Japan, these omelets are served in the morning, part of a larger breakfast with miso soup, bowls of rice, sometimes mackerel, fish, or crab. The Japanese really like to have a large savory breakfast, but you can make one of these for your kids as a bento box lunch, and their friends will be like, wow. Or sometimes when I get home from being away, like on a trip, I just want something light before I go to bed, but still satisfying and with protein. So this is something I sometimes make when I get home. As it gets big, it gets harder to flip. Okay, one last little layer. This beautiful beast. Look at that. So pretty. Okay, so we have our finished Dashimaki Tamago here. Looks beautiful. It smells amazing. And since we didn't have the rectangular shaped Japanese Tamago pan, we just used a regular nonstick skillet round. You can see it's not perfectly square here, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. So we're just gonna slice the ends off here. Those are little snackaroos. We can taste those. And then I'm just gonna slice it into about 1/2-inch pieces. You can see the beautiful layering in there. It's still pretty piping hot. You can serve this at room temperature. You can eat it warm. You can eat it cold. You can eat it however you want. Traditionally, the Japanese like to serve this with shredded or daikon, and I like to just use the extra scallions. And I also like to use just a little bit of shaved nori with sesame seeds just right on top. And there you go. Dashimaki Tamago. I hope you liked this video. Please give me a thumbs up and share, and don't forget to subscribe for more fun cooking videos.